morning, students. Today I am going to teach you the chapter Society of Rural Area. Now, how the colonial arrogant policy and its impact. What was the impact of this policy on the people of rural area? The colonial policies pursued by the British in the economic sphere brought about widespread changes in the field of land revenue system, agriculture, trade and industry. These policies were designed to promote British interest in colonial India. Now, what was the effect on rural life? Rural life before the coming of the Europeans was simple with small requirements which were fulfilled within the village itself. The Indian villages were more or less self-sufficient. The village panchayats settled disputes that arose in the villages. The peasant families cultivated the land and paid a part to produce to the rulers as revenue. They enjoyed certain rights over the land and could not be evicted. The revenue was generally collected by the village headman or the intermediaries. When the British established their rule, they continued with the old system under the supervision of their officials and their Indian agents. But the peasants and the landlords were oppressed and exploited by the company officials. Gradually, the company changed its policy and directly recruited revenue collectors, police and judicial officers. These outsiders started interfering in the village administration and the village panchayats lost their importance. Revenue was collected as a fixed amount without taking the quantity of the produce in consideration. The peasants had to pay the revenue in cash. They were forced to raise those crops which could be sold in the market. As a result, the village lost their self-sufficiency under the British rule. Now, in the previous class, we have studied about the Mughals had centralized revenue collector system. A class of officials were created by Mansabdari system. Their jobs was to collect revenue. The failure of the efficiency of this system, Ijaradari system, was introduced. In this system, the tax was collected from tax collector or Ijara farmers, who could take 1/10 of the tax from themselves. This system had an adverse result because the tax collector did not care about the welfare of the peasants. He squeezed the farmers for revenue to maximize his profit. This led to introducing the new system of permanent settlement. Now, revenue system during the British period. After the Battle of Buxar, British received the right to collect revenue of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa by Diwani. The company had got the Diwani, but it still saw itself mainly as a trader. It wanted a large revenue income. Many efforts were made to increase the revenue as much as possible. Land revenue was the main source of income. Its timely collection was very important for the company. Reza Khan collected revenue on behalf of the company. Due to mismanagement and corruption, this system left out soon. After this stage, Warren Hastings, first Governor General, was given the revenue collection right. Any bidder who promised to collect the highest revenue was given the charge of a particular area. This system also exploits the farmers and cultivators of some villages. They ran away to avoid being taxed. The company never got the full amount because bids were made for an amount which was much more than the production of crop. The company was also not getting fixed income from the revenue collection. This amount varied from one year to another. This resulted in the instability of income of the company. Now, East India Company brought about some changes to assure the steady income from the agriculture revenue. The British government annexed Indian territories. Their primary motive, like any other imperial power, was to collect revenue from land. That could not be achieved without a valuable and land revenue collection system. The British devised several methods to ensure steady flow of revenue from India. From their victory in Battle of Buxar, the British for the first time acquired the right to collect revenue. With the expansion of British territories, the amount of revenue collected also increased and land revenue became the biggest source of the company's income. The British engaged themselves in involving a theory that could legitimize the practice of economic exploitation of the Indian peasantry. They introduced land revenue settlements which affected the peasantry a great deal. Zamindari system was introduced in Bengal Presidency. Royalty system was promoted in large parts of South and West India. In the later Punjab, Northwest provinces and finally Awadh, a system of Mahalwari settlements was introduced. Now you have to do fill in the blanks and true or false in your book.